Texas, we have our own hours of service for our intrastate drivers, and I'm going to cover those with you and show you where to find them just in case you ever want to look them up or have to show them to someone that is curious about them. In order to find them, you'll have to go to the Secretary of State website because they are housed in our Texas Administrative Code. The rule is 4.12. So you can either go the long route through the SOS website or you can simply just Google Texas Admin Code 4.12 or maybe even TAC 4.12. And it should bring you a link to this page. And where you'll find it is in paragraph A2. Right here, you see it says the provisions of Title 49. I just want to show you here where it states it on the page, but here's what it actually says. The provisions of Title 49 CFR 395.3 shall not apply to intrastate commerce. 395.3 is on the federal hours of service side, which covers the max times you can drive and whatnot per day. So in our intrastate rules, it says drivers in intrastate commerce are permitted to drive 12 hours following 8 hours off duty. Drivers in intrastate commerce may not drive after having been on duty 15 hours. So that's the difference with our rules as opposed to the federal rules. On the federal side, you know that you're only allowed to work 14 hours a day, drive 11, and you have to rest up to 10. So we don't do that in Texas as long as you stay intrastate. And here's to summarize it. So we do, instead of 10, 11, 14, we do 8, 12, and 15. But you have to stay in intrastate commerce. For the weekly time, though, we also have an exception for Texas. And what we do in Texas is a straight 70 and 7 day period, as opposed to the federal side that does 60 hours and 7 days if your company doesn't operate vehicles every day of the week, or 70 and 8 days if your company operates every day of the week. We don't do that in Texas. We just do a straight 70 and 7 days. And in the weekly times, what you're counting is your on duty, not driving driving time, and anything that doesn't qualify for a rest period. And once you're getting to that limit, that's when you've got to take your 34 consecutive hours off to reset. Or if you have an exception, such as oil field or construction, where you only take 24 hours off, then you'd be able to do that. One other note about running interstate versus intrastate. If you have 10 trucks in your fleet and you have 5 trucks that go out of state and 5 that only stay in Texas, it's okay for the 5 in Texas to run under our intrastate hours, because technically every vehicle is regulated separately. So you don't have to have your drivers in Texas operating under the 10, 11, 14 if you don't want to. Now you can, and if it's your company policy or it's your choice, it's okay to run those vehicles under the 10, 11, 14. What I just want to clarify is that you don't have to, and that those intrastate vehicles can do the 8, 12, and 15. And the last thing to remember is that this is solely for Texas. As far as I know, we're the only state that has a separate hours of service, which is why you'll see in ELD you have Texas rule set and then just the regular hour sets. But once you leave Texas, or once your load is leaving Texas, or your load is coming from another state into Texas, then you lose that intrastate exemption and have to revert back to the federal, which is the 10, 11, and 14.